Sukhman Virdi is our next student. Sukhman attends Valley High School and lives in Urbandale. He is the son of Navroop and Budji. The title of his project is Interfaith Iowa.
Hi, my name is Sukhman Virdi, and I go to Valley High School. 2 summers ago, I had the amazing opportunity to attend an Interfaith youth camp at Drake University, and this experience changed my life. I want to touch on 2 memories from that experience. So this photo right here, though imperfect, captures perfectly how me and the other campers reacted as we danced with native Nepalese Hindus during their religious celebrations. On the right, we are enjoying a well-cooked meal at a local Indian restaurant. See, experiences like these make me wonder how faith can connect people, how faith can help people connect on a spiritual level with their humanity and with their moral compass. And it almost frustrates me that while experiences like these amazing experiences happen, experiences like these also occur. In 2012, six Sikhs were killed in a gurdwara in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. In 2016 and 2017, multiple mosques were vandalized by people who were not welcoming to the natives. Herbert Hoover, however, realized just how important faith was. And when we as Uncommon students were here in June, we had a chance to look at his book, American Individualism, and there was a paragraph that stood out to me that I want to touch on. It says, "For centuries, the human race believed that divine inspiration rested in a few. That the world has been disillusioned of this belief, that divinity rests in a special group or class. Our individualism insists upon the divine in each human being. It rests upon the firm faith that the divine spark can be awakened in every heart." See, Herbert Hoover understood that all faiths have the capacity to bring the best out of people. And it was with this as my support that I wanted to bring Herbert Hoover's beliefs to reality and started the Iowa Interfaith Initiative. Our goal was simple: to create opportunities for communication between different religious communities. And when I thought about how I can approach this, I thought about multiple different paths, multiple different events I could throw, but 2 stood out to me the most that I wanted to attack. First, I wanted to promote interactions among religious youth. See, we as youth are the next generation and the next leaders of the world, and it's important for us to have a well-rounded view and experience multiple things before we get out and enjoy independent lives. I also wanted to host many community service events. These events, while allowing the opportunity for different religious individuals to bond, also almost innocently allows us to help other groups of people who may not be as fortunate as we are. So to attack the first point, I hosted an interfaith panel at a local church, Western Hills Lutheran Church, and there were, as you can see here, there were many participants from multiple faiths. And I wanted for people to come out and share their experiences with others who might not know what those experiences were. I learned a lot from these panelists, things that I didn't even know about their faiths. And as you can see, there were multiple people in the audience, both parents and youth, who also learned a lot. At the end of the panel, we had multiple questions such as what holidays we celebrated, what were the most difficult aspects of our faith, and what things that we would want people to know that they would not know on their own. These questions, I thought, introduced people who may not have known about these faiths to new ideas and new ways of life. This event also allowed me to hand out pamphlets to other youth in the audience who may not have much participation in faith, and show them opportunities where they can indulge themselves in new ideas. Now, to attack the second point, community service events, I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do it in a place of worship as well. And so what I did was host a food service at a local church. With some of the same youth from the panel and with others, we ourselves cooked food and brought it to the church to serve. We served over 45 people, and this opportunity allowed us to interact with those people and inform them of different faiths and different ways of life as well. This one was especially laborious, and I would like to just take this opportunity to even thank the people themselves who volunteered, the parents and the youth. As you can see, it's a really tight space, and we had to cook the food, prepare the bread, butter the toast, warm the soup, and this was really helpful that they were able to pull this off. I feel like through this process, they even bonded more while working together. But the main question after all of this is, was this worth it? Was the project that I started out to do, was it accomplishing the goals that I wanted to do? And in the short answer, yes. See, my two events that I hosted encouraged conversations with others who may not have known a lot about that faith. Questions were raised about different aspects, like such as I mentioned, what holidays we celebrated, and what things that we wanted people to know that they might not have known about a certain faith. These things enlightened people with these new ideas. Finally, the new ideas that were introduced informed people about other cultures and other faiths that do occur in Iowa and in America as a whole, and why it is so important to have a good cultural background and understanding of other faiths. Now, I don't want this project to end with me. I don't want it to end after this presentation day. So my ultimate goal is that the events I have today can at some point have the same interactions and the same level of intensity as the events that I was able to participate at the Interfaith Youth Drake Camp. So I'm in the process of planning future events, such as a food drive that I'm planning on hosting in different cultural communities, and even a diabetes checkup where individuals can come to their place of worship and have a free checkup and learn about their health while also helping researchers learn new things that can help them with their work. Now, as I mentioned, a big part of my project was to include religious youth, and allow them to learn ideas as well. And so this is how I've planned on making the project go far more into the future, even after I graduate high school, because I've been in contact with a lot of those youth, many who have told me that they want to have this project go on, and they are willing to host events and talk about new ideas with other people. Before I go, I want to touch on the idea of conversations. I mentioned this early in the project about how conversations were important and how they showed the worth of the project that I was doing. Conversations are a tool to help build relationships between others. When you have a conversation with someone, you learn something you didn't learn before. You have an interaction that you may not have had, and you have something that may have lifted your day from what it was before. Herbert Hoover understood this as well. As a Quaker, he understood the humble side of life. With this humble side, I believe that he was able to develop a pensive character along with a strong moral compass. And touching back on his work in American individualism, he says, "It was a refusal to compromise these things, that led to the migration of those religious groups who were so largely composed our forefathers. He mentions that it was refusal to compromise, the refusal to communicate, in other words. Herbert Hoover believed that with interactions we could help America. And as he says in the last sentence, our diversified faiths are the hypothesis of spiritual individualism. Our faiths together show what America really is, and in turn helps us with our own faith. See, communication lets you bond with others and lets you get to know another person. And once you know another person, it becomes really hard to hate them. Thank you. I would love to hear some questions if you have any.
Did you work with anyone in terms of coming up with ideas for the different events? I mean, did you have other people you were collaborating with on that?
In terms of the first two events, those were my own ideas. I know I did have people who helped me organize them. I know specifically with the food service, I knew of a man who organizes such events at other places, and he helped me organize this one at the church. And I was responsible for bringing kids, and I was also responsible to help have the food ready and prepared for the others to eat.
And how did you communicate or market or get the word out about these events?
So from the Drake Youth Camp, I was in contact with other youth like me who wanted to be involved in interfaith services. And so I told them to take my number, take my email, and I took theirs as well. And so while I was planning these events, I contacted them, and I also contacted people from my school who were also interested. And so with the camp and the students from my school, I was able to bring enough people to host events like these.
So moving forward, how would you be more inclusive of other individuals, and how would you sustain this?
Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm in the process of having a food donation service. And so what I'm trying to do with that is, while these two events were more associated with the youth in different faiths, I wanted to do something with the actual communities and like the adults and the adolescents who go to these different cultural centers. And so with the food donations, I plan on taking this straight to those communities themselves. And so having buckets at those communities and talking to those communities about what I'm trying to do with this organization and how they can help.
What is the toughest hurdle you faced in putting this together?
It would definitely be getting participants. As I mentioned, I was able to get enough, but that took a long time. Because the camp was over the summer, many kids said that they would be able to participate, but we're all high schoolers, and we all have other stuff that we're involved in. And so with the food service especially, multiple people from the camp told me that they couldn't come because they had a marching band contest, for example, that day. And so things like that were the most difficult.
For the panel event that you hosted, did that have anything to do with the food service, or were those two totally separate?
Those two were separate.
And then how many people came to the panel event, and how did you go about picking the other kids to be on the panel? And
so the panel occurred at Western Heights Lutheran Church. It's in downtown Des Moines. And the people in the audience were mostly the youth who go to that church. And so it was also some adults from that church as well. So I think there were about 40 to 50 kids total at the panel. And the students from the panel, many of them, as I said, were students from my school and students I knew that would be interested in interfaith services. And these are the students that I'm going to be continuing to contact with future events.
So when you had the panel, were you the moderator? How did you keep the conversation going?
Mm-hmm. So I had help coming up with questions, and so I was actually a part of that panel as well. And so while we answered questions, DMARC, the Des Moines Religious Community Center, they helped with the panel. And so a woman from DMARC, Sarah Garriott, actually, I don't know if you know her, but she moderated the panel as time passed.
Thank you very much, Suk.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.